So it's DVD and Blu Ray update time. Now I have quite a lot to get through, so I will just launch straight into it. Most of these films were really kind of dirt cheap. Over the last couple of months since my last update, I've been trying to do some serious bargain hunting. So I say that, but the first two films I actually paid full price for. Well, I say full price, but they were £8 each in Asda. And those are the After Dark Originals copies of Husk and Prowl. Now, these movies were part of a horror festival last year called 8 Films to Die For, and the first two have just been released, which is these two. They're released under a new DVD label called After Dark Originals. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail about these because we are going to be reviewing these on Burns Redo, the group movie review channel I created, which you'll find a link to down there. If you haven't already, please subscribe. But let's just say they're very kind of good little independent horror movies. I really enjoyed both of these movies, so that's Husk and Prowl. I also picked up a film I haven't seen since I was a kid, and that is Conan the Barbarian. Need I say more? Arnold Schwarzenegger, Conan. I remember it being a good film. Let's just hope it lives up to what I see through my rose-tinted glasses. I then picked up another film I used to watch all the time as a kid, and this was quite funny because I've never met anybody else who has seen this movie until I went to America last year and met up with the YouTubers Heather and Chris, Do Not Take It Seriously, and Sergeant Pepper 1138. And Chris quoted this movie to me. A car drove past with a headlight that was out and he said "Padiddle," and I went, oh, you know, that's from Black Dog, Black Dog, the Patrick Swayze movie, where he is a trucker who is transporting some illegal guns for Meatloaf, and then Meatloaf starts to like chase him and try and kill him and stuff. It's so bad that it's good. It's a really enjoyable film. I think one of Patrick Swayze's best, in my opinion. I love this movie. As bad as it is, I really do love it. And like I say, when Chris quoted it, I couldn't believe my ears. I thought, oh my god, I finally met somebody else who has seen Black Dog. So yeah, that was about like $3.99 on Amazon, so I thought I have to have that for nostalgic sake. I also picked up the newest, now that Hammer Horror has kind of come back, the first film that they actually produced, which was released after the others, they did Let Me In and The Resident, but this was the first one, Wakewood. A film that I really, really enjoyed, and it really does kind of harken back to films like The Wicker Man and that style of horror. It's an Irish horror film, basically about a couple who lose their daughter, who then try to resurrect her using black magic, and it all goes terribly wrong. It's a fantastic film for what it is. I mean, it's micro-budget filmmaking, but for the amount of money it costs to make, it is so enjoyable. I really did like Wakewood and strongly recommend it. And that brings me on to when I went down to London to the Becoming YouTube Stars conference, I went into HMV, as you do, to have a look at what they had, and I thought I'd buy a couple of movies. The first of which was Takeshi Miike's Ichi the Killer. I've seen a few Takeshi Miike films, but I'd never seen this one. The reason being is I saw the anime of Ichi the Killer and hated it, and really had no interest in seeing the live-action film. So I picked it up because it was like £4. And I know that this is the cut version, so going in, I knew I wasn't getting everything, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good film, and I didn't struggle to understand it. Now, I know some people say the cut version, you know, the narrative is harder to understand and get your head around, but I enjoyed it regardless, and enjoyed it so much, in fact, that I'm importing the uncut version, Region 1 DVD. But Ichi the Killer, I really enjoyed, and would recommend to fans of Takeshi Miike, any of you who haven't seen it already, although it seems like everybody has. And at the same time, I also picked up New York Ripper. This is the Lucio Fulci movie, which is kind of notorious for being banned for several years, and it was released by the Shameless DVD label. Where are we? There we go. Now, it's still cut. I think there's something like 34 seconds cut from it. A nipple mutilation scene with a razor blade, apparently. But I really don't care. You know, I like Lucio Fulci movies, and I was in the mood for a trashy kind of horror movie, throwaway horror movie, so I thought New York Ripper. It was £5, so I picked that up while I was down there as well. And the final film I picked up while I was there is Paul Verhoeven's Black Book. I like Paul Verhoeven. I really do like Paul Verhoeven, despite Showgirls. But I've never seen this one, and this was £5. It's the HMV kind of exclusive tartan slipcase thing that you get, which is really nice. And it was £5 as well, so you can't really go far wrong. I haven't watched it yet, but you know, you can't really go wrong with Paul Verhoeven. And that actually brings me on to anybody who shops at HMV will probably be familiar with the Pure HMV reward system, a card that you buy for £3, and every time you make a transaction you earn points. Those points can then be exchanged for gifts or whatever online. Now, one of the gifts was a £20 voucher, so I exchanged my points for a £20 voucher. So essentially, these films I got were free. So I thought, with that £20, I wanted to buy films that I not only hadn't seen but knew nothing about. I wanted to blind buy everything. So I went in. These films were £5 each, so this is where the £20 went. I got Novo, which know nothing about, and the cover was enticing to say the least, so I thought, why not? So there's Novo, Chosie's Secreties. I don't know how to pronounce that, but yeah, I got that as well. These are all Tartan films. Again, look, these two are in the tartan slipcases that HMV are doing, which is, you know, really nice. I also picked up Bad Guy. Liam, DVD Weasel, was with me at the time, and he said that Kim Ki-duk, the director, is apparently a good director, so why not? And I also picked up A Tale of Two Sisters, which I haven't seen, and didn't realise until after I bought it that it's directed by Kim Ji-woon, and I've only seen one of his films. That was A Bittersweet Life. So I really enjoyed that movie, and, you know, for the sake of getting it for free, essentially, I thought, why not buy A Tale of Two Sisters? And then I paid a bit extra and got another film, Ip Man, which is apparently a fantastic kung fu film, and I love kung fu films. I also picked up, there were some cheap films in Asda, actually. The first of which I picked up was another Kim Ji-woon film, and that's The Good, the Bad and the Weird. Haven't watched it yet, but it was, oh god, how much was this? I think it was £3. It was something ridiculous. It was in a bargain bin, but this is the 2-disc special edition. So when I saw it, I was like, actually, I'm going to buy that. Why not? So yeah, The Good, the Bad and the Weird. Also picked up for £2, I believe, in Asda, In the Name of the Father, directed by Jim Sheridan, and if memory serves, he did In America, which is a film I really love. So I like Jim Sheridan's work, and I like Daniel Day-Lewis, and this was £2 in Asda. Another £2 bargain bin find in Asda was Chopper. Seriously, go to Asda and raid the bargain bins. They've got some little gems hidden away there. So I picked up Chopper for £2 as well. Actually, this was labelled as £3, but when we scanned it, it was 2, so, you know, belter. This is Eric Bana's debut. I've never seen Chopper, although I've had several people recommend it to me, so I thought, £2, I have no excuse not to see this movie, so I picked that up as well. I also, from Amazon, got a couple of cheap movies. The first of which is Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Picked this up because I had planned a horror movie marathon at my house with a few friends, and one of the films we watched was A Nightmare on Elm Street, and it just got me thinking, like, oh god, I haven't seen New Nightmare in ages, so I picked that up from Amazon because it was like £3.50 or something, and it is a good film, actually. Despite what you think about the Nightmare sequels, I think New Nightmare at least tries to do something different, so I enjoyed that. And we also watched Freddy vs. Jason, which is quite cool for what it is. And I also picked up The Virgin Suicides, Sofia Coppola's first film. Haven't seen this, but I've seen Lost in Translation, obviously everybody has. Fantastic film. I really wanted to see this because I want to see her new film Somewhere as well. If her other films are half as good as Lost in Translation, then I will enjoy them. So The Virgin Suicides, again, I think this was like $2.99 on Amazon, so I picked that up while it was cheap. And that kind of brings me on to the Blu-rays, the first of which I picked up in Asda. This was full price. In fact, I think most of these were full price, actually, if not all. But again, they accumulated over the course of like 2 months. The first of which was Machete, because I'm a big fan of Grindhouse, and I really wanted to see Machete, so I picked this up, and it was actually a lot better than I was expecting, and it was really good to see Steven Seagal in a half-decent film as well. So Machete really is, you know, it does harken back to those Grindhouse movies in the same way that Death Proof and Planet Terror did. It's directed by Robert Rodriguez, stars Danny Trejo, who is he's fantastic. Any fans of action movies love Danny Trejo. So yeah, Machete was really good, and you also get this really nice kind of card, old-fashioned feeling slipcover to it as well, so that's cool. And then in the same vein, I watched Machete and I enjoyed it so much, I thought I really want, even though I've got the Japanese like 6-disc box set of Grindhouse. When I watch it with friends, I don't like to take that set, because it costs £75, I don't like to take it with me to friends' houses. So I ordered, this was actually £12.99, so it was a lot cheaper than I was expecting. I ordered the Grindhouse set on Blu Ray, which features the theatrical cut with Death Proof and Planet Terror back to back with the fake trailers in between. You get it in this slipcase, and then you whip it out, and you've got like this cover here of like the front of the Flea Pit Cinema. It's essentially the same design as the Japanese set, nowhere near as nice though. But for £12.99, you can't really go wrong. And with that, I picked up a film I've heard really bad things about, but this was actually seriously cheap for a Blu-ray. I can't remember how much it was like a £5. I picked up Hellride as well, because I'd love to have a night in where, you know, you watch Grindhouse, Machete, Hellride, From Dusk Till Dawn, all these like trashy throwaway Tarantino movies. So yeah, for the sake of like a £5 or however much it was, I picked that up at the same time. Also picked up what is quite possibly one of my favourite films of last year, and that is Jackass 3. Now, you can't really say much about this, but let's just say that the exploding poo mountain is one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life, and it looks gorgeous on Blu-ray, so yeah, that's Jackass 3. Also picked up Unstoppable, the Denzel Washington movie. This was full price, but I split the price with my dad because he really wanted to see it, because he has a man crush on Denzel Washington, but who doesn't? And I enjoyed this movie. It wasn't as good as it should have been. It wasn't as trashy as it should have been, but it's Explodey Trains movie with Denzel Washington, and I love Denzel Washington. I love explosions, and like any boy, I love trains for some reason. Like, what is it with like little boys and liking trains? When I was a little boy, my gran and granddad used to take me to watch trains go past, and I know a lot of like people do that. So I was like, it's Denzel Washington on a train that's like blowing stuff up. So yeah, Unstoppable. It's enjoyable for what it is, but don't pay full price. Wait for it to come below a tenner. And finally, I picked up on my lunch break, didn't realise it was out, and when I saw that it was out, I thought, I have to buy that because I need to see it again. I loved it so much when I saw it at the cinema, and that is The Green Hornet, which I reviewed on my YouTube. If you go back through my past videos, it's not that far down the list, but I reviewed The Green Hornet, really enjoyed it, in the same vein as Scott Pilgrim as Kick-Ass. And while it's not as good as those movies, it is really enjoyable, so I recommend The Green Hornet. It's a lot better than like critics would have you believe, so I wholeheartedly recommend it. I also got a request from a YouTuber called Lego Geek 4000671, I believe his username is, requesting a graphic novel update. Now, I don't really think I've bought enough graphic novels to really justify doing a standalone update yet, so I thought I'd just show you a couple of things that I bought while I was down in London for the YouTube conference, and that is The Losers, which, the film I love. I haven't read the book, and I saw this, and then when I realised it was actually signed by Andy Diggle, the author, but then you open it up, and it's signed by Jock as well, the artist. So, just to give you a sneak peek, you know, there's the Losers. If it's half as good as the film, I will enjoy it, because I loved the movie. Also picked up book 2 as well, so I've got the full run of The Losers, again signed by Andy Diggle, and, where are you, Jock as well. So that's pretty cool. Let's choose a page to show from this, even though they're all really dark. You know, there we go again. So, yeah, Lego Geek, yeah, there you go. There's the a couple of graphic novels to show you. Although I will, when I've got a few more, I will do a graphic novel update. So thanks to everybody for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks a lot, guys. I'll see you later.